So Cornel West is an Orientalist and an Islamophobe. Cornel West is a grifter, right? Cornel West is an Orientalist and an Islamophobe. Check it out. He was on Black Power Media and he got schooled by Jackie Lukman.
About the ongoing oppression of our people.
See where it starts. Also, he was running cover for wealthy ruling class person Harlan Crow.
Everyday folk at their best. And so at that deep existential level, I just knew I couldn't do it. Am I going on too long, my dear sister?
No, you're not going on too long. I don't want to hog the conversation.
But does it make sense? Does it make sense to you?
I will say that again, the Green Party absolutely has its weaknesses.
So they start about talking about why he left the Green Party, and again, he exposed himself as a clout chaser.
Definitely does, and I've had those conversations. And I'm just going to be real honest. I have gone back and forth with folks in the Green Party over the issue in Ukraine. I know people who have, in Chicago, there was a young brother a few years ago who took over a Green Party chapter because of these issues. So these are issues that we understand are a part of struggling with the Green Party. I do continue to question how we, as revolutionaries and radicals, expect to give people who have no political power outside of any political apparatus, how we expect them to bring them to an organized mass to gain political power, because without...
So let's go to the, what does he say here?
Major issues.
Right.
Now, before you get to that, I have a conspiracy theory I want you to debunk for me about why you left the Green Party per se. So you're in the Green Party and things are chugging along. And part of this will be a layered thing. You bring on your campaign manager, who seems to be a little to the right of you. I'm gonna pause there for effect. So he seems to be a little bit to the right, but there seems to be other influential people in your life. I think brother Harlan, the billionaire.
Oh, Harlan Crow, you mean
that
right-wing brother down in
that brother. So it seems to be that he comes.
Notice how everybody's a brother to Cornel West, even people in the ruling class who are like right-wing extremists. And again, Kamau Franklin clowns Cornel West for that. He clowns him for it, because we know Cornel West is a circus clown, you know? Kind of like, he's like the Adesanya of politics, right? He's kind of like the Lionel Messi of politics. He's a circus clown, right? That's what he is.
On the scene and offers potentially a lot of money that allows you to leave the Green Party and then decide to go and try to build out the national base. But the reaction to Harlan and who he is, and the rightful reaction and pushback, kind of leaves you having to sort of not take his money. But my conspiracy is, did you leave because you thought in the background that you had somebody who's going to give you money to build out the campaign, other than what the Green Party had at its presence anyway, then you don't have the hassle of the Green Party. And then we can get into the details about who these other figures are or whatever like that. But that's my conspiracy.
Right. I mean, No. I appreciate you being honest and candid. I want to debunk that immediately. Good God Almighty. One is, I'm running a campaign where there's limits. If I had a PAC, that'd be different. If Harlan was tied to a PAC, he's a billionaire, right? So if I had a PAC, he could give millions. All he could give, as you know, is $3,300. That's it. I've known him for 12 years. I go down to Dallas almost every year to Brother Flowers' school, St. Philip's School, which is an all-black school where Erykah Badu's kids are playing the cello and the violin. I see him all the time. And he has a connection with them, and it's giving them money. They got a Harlan Crow school, a room for him, and so forth. So I get a chance to interact with him, and all he does is give money to a variety of different candidates. As you know, he's given to DeSantis, he's given to Christie, he's given to about 6 or 7 different candidates, and he gives the money to me of $3,000. Now, $3,000 ain't gonna do nothing. That's doing squat, not just in relation to his money, but even to my campaign. And he.
But here's the $1 million question. Why is Cornel West buddies with Harlan Crow? Why is Cornel West associating himself with a right-wing villain who is part of the ruling class, the capitalist class, such as Harlan Crow?
He gave that money while I was still with the Green Party early on. I made the announcement in June. Jill Stein mentioned that to me maybe in early July. I said, should we take this money? He's the one tied to Clarence. I said, oh, I know Harlan from Dallas. Keep his money. I take money from a variety of different folks. I'm a free man. I don't.
Again, Jill Stein questioned Cornel West about that money. And Cornel West, again, said, oh, that's my buddy from Dallas. Took the money. Cornel West is a grifter. Cornel West is an opportunist.
Yeah, whoever gives me money, I'm going to be the same person no matter what. It's only reason why it surfaced was because finally, during the quarter, all of the names were available. You look at when he gave money. I was still a member of the Green Party way back when. Now, Jill, rightly, wrote me a little note. Said, you know, Brother West, this is going to be problematic. Why? Because he's tied to Clarence. I said, well, I don't know who's giving them my money, but whatever they give, they can only give $3,300. They can't. This is not a pact that has these kind of strings telling people that if I give you more money, you got to say X, Y, and Z at all. Oh, no, not at all. That my struggles with the Green Party, even Brother Barack, I would tell you the truth, that even when we were in the screen together, I would say, Brother Barack, you a strong brother be dealing with these Green Party people, man. I'm telling you so, man.
So he knew the money from Harlan Crow would cause him issues, right? Because Jill Stein told him, right? Again, Cornel West is a clown. He is a clown, right? He is a circus clown, right? This guy's a circus clown, you know? He's an opportunist. He's a circus clown. And in like 2 seconds, or maybe several minutes, we'll see that he's an Orientalist, an Islamophobe, and a Zionist.
We got different kind of folk in the world. It is a challenge. There ain't no doubt about that. So that in that regard, now when Peter came along, who was recommended by Jill Stein, as you know.
Again, Jill Stein, small hat. Peter Dow, affiliated or formerly affiliated with Kataib. Not surprised. Kataib in the 80s were funded by the Zionists. They were the Maronite extremists in Lebanon. Am I really surprised? No. Again, Jill Stein's a liberal Zionist and a grifter, just like Cornel West.
When Peter came along, we had to sit down and look at the pros and cons because it became a matter also of finances. How do we sustain ourselves financially, and how do we invest in the ballot access when, in fact, it was very difficult in certain states for us to be able to get all of the signatures on the one hand and then have the Green Party follow through in the way that they ought in regard to the campaign. So you had tensions between campaign and party. And of course, I'm never a Green. I joined the Green when I decided to run for Green, right? But I've never been a Green person in my life. I've never been a member of any political party in my life. I would have joined MDIP, but that didn't get off the ground. And other than that, I've just never been a member at all. And so I want to debunk this notion that the conspiratorial thing that somehow it had to do with right-wing money. And so, oh, no.
But you did. He did take right-wing money from Harlan Crow. He did. He had to give it back because people got on his case about it. But he took money from Harlan Crow.
Not at all. Not at all.
Could you finish your point also about why Peter says he left? You mentioned the issue with Beirut. If you could just finish that thought.
Oh,
his connection
yeah,
to Beirut.
yeah, it was
I think
for
that'd be
health
important.
reasons, though. I mean, that he, his doctor had said that his blood pressure was such because of these various nightmares. You know, he grew up in Beirut with all of the bombings and so forth, and he was saying that the Gaza stuff has been really hitting him hard with all of these different kind of re-triggering the traumas, and he talked it over with his precious wife and his precious daughter, and they were, all of them were very, very much on board for the campaign. I mean, you know, he's undergone some changes. You know, he worked with warmongering, Hillary Clinton, and so forth. The history, of course, speaks for itself in a very negative way, but he underwent some changes. But the health reasons kicked in so intensely that there was just no way he could continue, and so we're in another transition here now.
To clarify that point, thank
you. Yeah,
you.
no, absolutely. But Brother Franklin, does my response make sense to you?
No, it does in terms of some of the timing. If there's a critique, of course, even if you know Harlan well, being that who you are in the office that you're running for, that you had to know or should have known, without even anybody saying that this would have came back and impacted you in a very negative way, right? If you stand against the billionaire class, be it the billionaire seems to be giving resources that we know of, particularly a billionaire of that ilk, not that they're all that different anyway, but you know.
Right.
So I do think that's something, but obviously I think that stands out in terms of something that seems, again, to be counter your image of who you are. Even if you're a free man, you can take money from anybody you want. Of course, you are Cornel West running for president on the very left ideas around disbanding or destroying or taking away the billionaire class, their resources and so forth.
Absolutely.
I think that part.
Kamau Franklin destroys Cornel West on this, right? Cornel West, this guy, see where the cursor's pointing, the circus clown right here? He's supposed to be running for president to destroy the ruling class. So why is he taking money from the ruling class? He's supposed to destroy the ruling class, right? Cornel West is a grifter and he's a hypocrite, right? That's what he is. He's a grifter and a hypocrite and a bougie academic.
Is an open contradiction and obviously should be called out, criticized, right, so forth.
But what about the amount? The issue of the amount, $3,000 versus.
I think it's more the optics and
it's just.
Yeah, like, why are you taking money from someone of the ruling class? Harlan Crow is part of the ruling class. Like, Cornel West is a hypocrite. Just like Jared Ball, whose grandparents were Zionist squatters and runs cover for Martin Luther King, who's a Zionist, is also a hypocrite.
Is it just optics or is it substantive too?
It's substantive. It is.
And you calling him friend and brother, and you know what I mean. It's got that. It's yeah, you know.
He's basically having parties and organizing events where he's bringing the elite together to discuss amongst themselves how to serve the billionaire class. So he's just not like some, like, not that this exists, of course, but you know, the public image of he's just some old nice guy who just happens to be a billionaire who wants the best for all of us. He has political interests, which he makes sure he massages to bring about his needs. Part of that massaging is what he does with Clarence Thomas and other people on the Supreme Court, what he does in Congress in terms of lobbying, what he does probably with whatever parties in terms of giving. He's looking not only for influence, but for control, for power. So it's, and if he happens to also give money to some black schools for purposes of publicity or propaganda, then so be it. But his true nature.
Right. And Kamau hits a great point here, right? What Harlan Crow is doing is influence peddling. That's why he bribes Clarence Thomas. That's why he bribes Ron DeSantis. That's why he bribes other politicians, Ted Cruz, right? That's why he does that. It's influence peddling to push his right-wing agenda, right? That's what he does. And Cornel West is a circus clown and a grifter for taking money from Harlan Crow, right?
In terms of his class nature, is obviously to dominate the electoral system to serve him. You know that going into it. And so even if he is somebody who you can talk to or relate to or have a conversation with, it obviously both optics, resources, and everything else on its face. Because then it begs the question, of course, we know what the limit is of what they gave you, $300,000.
Right.
This is a conspiracy theory. Who knows what else he's donating to or what else he's giving to, blah, 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 that kind of thing. One begs the other question, whether it's true or not. And so the best practice, of course, for a person in your position running for what you're running on in your particular platform is to say thank you, but no thank you, right?
No, I hear what you're saying.
In my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jack, just I was just gonna say, as my daughters say, it's giving the other little the other controversy we were in recently, that we condemn the conflict on both sides type of vibe. It's giving that kind of energy. That's all. That's it. Sorry, Jack.
Right.
And I have to add that, when our people hear that someone like Harlan Crow not only was deeply involved in this, you want to talk about a conspiracy. A conspiracy is just something that a bunch of people got together to do and didn't tell you about it. It's not that it's not true, it's just that they kept it a secret from you. When we understand that this man has been deeply involved in an entire Christian right-wing lobbying campaign to control the Supreme Court, to influence the Supreme Court for not just years, but decades. And he has funded a great deal of that, and we see the result of that. But this is also a man who has, I think you described in your tweet, a Never Again collection that includes Nazi memorabilia.
So again, Cornel West is taking money from a dude with Nazi memorabilia. That shows you how much of a grifter Cornel West is. He's a grifter.
And I guess in his estimation, the communist revolution in China under Mao, well, that should have never happened. The people should have never been freed from feudalism. Stalin should have never won the World War II against the Nazis. When people see that kind of thing, and these are the kind of people who are giving money to your campaign, no matter how much money or how little money it is, people are looking at that saying, what kind of people are you willing to associate with? Because people like Harlan Crow not only actively use their vast and unimaginable wealth to oppress folks who look like every single one of us on this panel and most of the people watching, but they are unconcerned about the ongoing oppression of our people because they fund it. So someone like him having what he called
So again, Cornel West is being funded by his oppressor. Great point by Jackie Lukeman.
Again, what did Mao do to him? What did Stalin do to him? And how are you lumping those people in with Hitler? And then to prop up Jefferson and Washington as these patriots, that he has this collection of Jefferson and Washington, bunch of slave owners. Why are we supposed to be okay with that?
Oh no, but see, my claim was not to be okay with it. I was just trying to get the truth out in terms of what his particular right-wing perspective is. There's a whole bunch of people out there who have a right-wing perspective, which we oppose, which we call into question, right? But
again, Cornel West, at this point, all he can do is make excuses and run cover for himself, right? He's trying to run cover and make excuses for himself. Again, Cornel West is a grifter. Cornel West is a sellout. That's literally what he is. He sees no problem with taking money from like Nazi sympathizer Harlan Crow. He sees no problem with taking money from someone who literally praises human traffickers. Because that's what Jefferson and Washington and Madison were, right? Human traffickers. They trafficked people from Senegal, right? Most likely Cornel West's ancestors were trafficked from Senegal to North America, right? Again, he sees no problem because he's a grifter. You see, Cornel West, his dad was a DOD contractor. His grandpa was a Baptist minister. Cornel West has been a grifter and a sellout his whole life. Cornel West collaborates with Zionist rabbis frequently. Cornel West is a grifter.
But ultimately, for me, it's the question of, have people seen in my words or deeds any change in what I would do, no matter who gives me money? I got hundreds of folk giving me money. I don't know who they are.
That's fair.
Why? Because
That's
I'm
fair.
the same. I'm the same mother uncle, no matter whether I have money or not. That's just who I am, and that's what I'm gonna be.
Basically, Cornel West has tapped out politically. He is tapped out politically.
So it doesn't make any difference. It really
So,
doesn't.
so
No, the optics do, the perceptions do. That's why in the second tweet I said the overwhelming role of perceptions over the truth are real. But in terms of the effect on
See, he's trying to run cover now. He's trying to make excuses and backpedal now. Cornel West is a circus clown. That's what he is.
me, people think it was. That's why when Brother Franklin said, "Well, I think there might be even a strained causal connection between this money given and certain action, right? Leaving the party." I got to debunk that. That's a question of my integrity. That's a question of who I am as a human being, as a brother, as a black man, as a free man, right? And if anybody can see any change in what I say or do, any less courage, less willingness to serve the people, less willingness to sacrifice for the people, no matter what the money, then we really do have a issue.
So, but for me, and this would be similar to what also occurred recently on Twitter, at least as I saw it, with your perceived leaning towards a false equivalence between Palestinians and Israelis, is that when, yes, it's not a matter just of your behavior changing, it's a matter of what that continued activity looks like and what impact it has when received in the frame or through a lens of, well, he also kind of leans towards this guy, kind of leans towards this group, and does kind of, I think that's the point for me, is that it's not that you're going to change, it's that the impact of what you're doing is going to change. But
I mean, even with the Palestinian situation, though, what I would have written 20 years ago with Edward Zaid, as opposed to what I wrote in the last 2 weeks, is still the same. It's still the same. I haven't changed my views about the vicious domination and occupation. I haven't changed my views about a Palestinian life has less value than Israeli life. I haven't changed my views about blood on the. That's all in the tweets, right? The hands are on the U.S. government and the Israeli government and so forth. Now I've got certain differences of folk in regard to Hamas. Oh, ain't no doubt about that.
See, he's an Islamophobe. Cornel West is an Islamophobe, and he's an Orientalist. That's what Cornel West is. He took money from Harlan Crow because he wants the proximity to whiteness. Right? He's an Islamophobe and an Orientalist because he wants the proximity to whiteness. That's the truth about Cornel West. He's a clown. He's a liberal Zionist. He's an Islamophobe. He's an Orientalist. And he's a grifter. Right? Might as well give him the clown nose and put makeup on him. After all, this is what he said.
Very much so. That resistance takes a number of different forms. And if it takes the form of killing innocent folk, then I've always been critical of that. I've always been critical of that, you see. And there we got different orientations. We can argue with Nat Turner in the same way. I mean, I've had
So would that be your argument?
So we got different sensibilities.
Would that be? So that, let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you on that. So would that be your article? Would that be your argument that Nat Turner, if that's, you know, we do these juxtapositions or these historical things, if Nat Turner, if you were alive and heard about Nat Turner slave revolt, and part of that slave revolt was killing the family of enslavers who benefited from the enslavement, would your first statement be that although we respect the right of the enslaved to fight back, the innocent killing of the owners of the families of slave owners needs to be condemned?
No,
like, you know,
it would be exactly what it was before. I would be supportive of Nat Turner. I'd be supportive of the spirit of resistance. I would talk about his courage in relation to a great black folk. And I would talk about the ways in which one goes about expressing that resistance. And then I would say you don't kill innocent children.
Okay, Dr. West.
But it'd be
All Zionist squatters are guilty. All Zionist squatters must be extradited to their countries of origin. Right? Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West is an Orientalist. Cornel West is a grifter. Cornel West is a circus clown. Cornel West is a liberal Zionist. That's what he is.
No one is rooting for or suggesting that it's like, but the point is that the killing is going on for literally 75 years, if not longer, particularly in Palestine.
And 230 some years in this situation with Nat Turner.
Of course, yes. And so when you put
right.
when finally, and I'll put it like this:
Sure.
When those who are enslaved and or oppressed fight back or do something back, even though day after day, their family, their children are being killed, murdered, arrested, jailed, assassinated, and everything else that we can think of, with no statements from anybody, because the Western media doesn't cover it, and so we act like it's not happening.
We're raising our voices all the time. We ain't just worried about the lies that mainstream is telling.
But we also have to know that the thing that will get picked up, all the other statements won't get picked up. But the moment you say a statement that seems to be both-sided, all of a sudden national news will now care what you have to say. So it's all about the calibration also of the statement and the timing, which helps to fit into a Western narrative of...
Again, Cornel West he's been outed as a liberal Zionist. He's an Islamophobe. He's an Orientalist. He's a clout chaser. He's a grifter. Cornel West is an academic circus clown. That's what he is.
And again, no matter what you think about Hamas, I think they also are a resistance movement. No matter what else I think about them.
Absolutely, because...
Again, I'm Palestinian, right? Hamas is liberating Palestine, literally. Cornel West is a circus clown. Cornel West is an opportunist.
Hamas is not just a military group. They got social services, they got education, they got a whole host of things that's part of the resistance. Absolutely. And it's like ANC. I mean, I'm not a pacifist. I believe in just war. I believe you kill combatants. I believe you blow up property the way the Spirit of the Nation did with Mandela and company and so forth. But when it comes to killing innocent children, there's got to be a moral dimension. People say, well, now, Brother West, all of a sudden, now you both say, there's no both sides at all. I'm already standing on the side of resistance. Ain't nobody gonna push.
No, he's not. He's running cover for Zionist squatters. That's what he's doing.
Bishop Tutu out because he brings that issue up and he's a both-sider. No, we got to teach the younger generation that this ain't no both-sider perspective. Just because
when the
IDF
kind of and slave masters line up in a fair fight.
For the freedom fight.
Okay, Dr. West, I take issue with the idea that innocent people were killed, because in a settler colonial project, settler colonialism is by definition a violent genocidal process. And we know...
Jackie nailed that point. She nailed that point on the head. Settler colonialism is a violent genocidal process. The Zionist squatters, the Zionist entity, is literally committing genocide. Settler colonialism is genocide.
Know this because here we are sitting on literal stolen land right here.
That's
in
right.
This
That's right.
raggedy country.
Let's play that back. I go 2 seconds back.
In this country.
Or do something back, even though day after day, they, their family, their children are being killed, murdered, arrested, jailed, assassinated, and everything else that we can think of, with no
Right.
statements from anybody, like because the Western media doesn't cover it, and so
But
we
the
act like
statements
it's
from
not
us.
happening.
We're raising our voices all the time. We ain't just worried about the lies that Main Street is telling.
But we also have to know that the thing that will get picked up, all the other statements won't get picked up. But the moment you say a statement that seems to be both-sided, all of a sudden national news will now care what you have to say. So it's all about the calibration also of the statement and the timing, which helps to fit into a Western narrative of, and again, no matter what you think about Hamas, I think they also are a resistance movement, no matter what else I think about them. They
Oh,
are a
absolutely, because Hamas is not just a military group. They got social services, they got education, they got a whole host of things that's part of the resistance. Absolutely. And it's like ANC. I mean, I'm not a pacifist. I believe in just war. I believe you kill combatants. I believe you blow up property the way the Spirit of the Nation did with Mandela and company and so forth. But when it comes to killing innocent children, there's got to be a moral dimension. People say, well, now, Brother West, all of a sudden now you both say, ain't there's no both sides at all. I'm already standing on the side of resistance. Ain't nobody gonna push Bishop Tutu out because he brings that issue up and he's a both-sider. No, we got to teach the younger generation that this ain't no both-sided perspective. Just because
When the
you're saying this
IDF
kind of thing,
and
it's
slave
different
masters
for
line
the
up in a fair
resistance,
fight.
different for the freedom fight.
Okay,
When-
Dr. West, I take issue with the idea that innocent people
Yes.
were killed because in a settler colonial project, settler colonialism is by definition a violent genocidal process. And we know this because here we are sitting on literal stolen land right here.
That's
in
right.
This
That's right.
raggedy country. And so when we look at the settler colonial project in this country, when the Europeans were given an invitation by the government of this country that had cleared away, genocided, ethnically cleansed many of the indigenous people who were on this land and offered them an invitation to come and just stake your claim in the land that is, it's free and clear. You just pay this little bit of money, you get a deed and it's yours. Are the people who came here at that invitation of a genocidal government that but was still in the process of committing genocide against the indigenous people, were the people who came here and participated in that genocidal settler colonial project, were they innocent? Especially when they came in contact with what was left of the indigenous people, still trying to fight for their sovereignty and their land and their self-respect and their humanity and their self-determination. And what did those European settlers do? Did they say, oh, we have made a huge mistake. We didn't know people were here. We were lied to. How can we live peaceably with you? No, that's not what they did. They called on the U.S. Army to kill the rest of them, to help them kill the rest of them. The exact same thing is being done in Palestine with the illegitimate government of Israel, where people who have never set foot in Palestine, their families have never set foot in Palestine, were invited by a government that was propped up by U.S. imperialism and is defended by U.S. militarism to this day as we see it playing out. And they tell these people, because you are of a particular religion, this is your country, you have a right to come here, and never mind all of those pesky Palestinians who are here that we have walled off in a prison and are holding in a concentration camp. And not only do you not have to worry about them and the fact that they were here first, but you are given carte blanche to abuse them to the point of murdering them, stealing their homes,
Absolutely.
killing their children,
I'm with you, my
you know,
sister.
doing
I
all of
agree
that.
with you.
So the question, and in regard to
So again, Cornel West is basically tapping out here, right? He's being schooled thoroughly by Jackie Lukman, right? Cornel West, again, he has outed himself as a liberal Zionist. He's outed himself as an Orientalist, as an Islamophobe, and as a grifter and a circus clown. Might as well put the red nose and the makeup on him, because he is a circus clown.
October 7th in particular, I do have to question how decent people or innocent people have a dance party next to a concentration camp. I have a hard time
Right, no,
with that.
that's a powerful question.
So
But
I don't.
I'm thinking mainly of the children. A 3-month-old baby is innocent to me. Whatever the benefit.
No Zionist squatters are innocent. No settlers are innocent, right? No Zionist squatters or settlers are innocent. The Zionist squatters are foreign invaders. They're foreign invaders from Russia. They're foreign invaders from Ukraine. They're foreign invaders from Poland. They're foreign invaders from Germany, Austria, Czechia, Hungary, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Iran, Uzbekistan, Iraq, Yemen, Ethiopia, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Syria, South Africa. Right? They're illegal invaders from France, Portugal, Italy, Mexico, United States, Canada, Australia. By the way, Canada, United States, Australia, those are settler colonies too, right? Those are English settler colonies. The United States belongs to the Athabascan and Salish and Inupiaq peoples, and Canada the same thing, right? So Cornel West, again, loves running cover for Zionist squatters because Cornel West is a Zionist grifter. Cornel West is a circus clown. Cornel West is an Islamophobe and an Orientalist. That's what Cornel West is. He's been in academia since the 80s, since the 70s. Cornel West is a clown, right? He's an opportunist and a grifter, right? That's what he is.
In the future and so forth and so on. I'm starting with the children. That's why I focus primarily on. But of course, I accept the story, the narrative, the analysis that you have. There's no doubt about that. Very much so. But what's fascinating is Frederick Douglass, Du Bois, even
W.E.B. Du Bois was a Zionist clown. Why are you quoting W.E.B. Du Bois? The guy was a Zionist clown, right? The guy was a Zionist clown. That's what W.E.B. Du Bois was. He was a Protestant extremist, and he was a Zionist clown. Oh, again, that's what Cornel West is.
white brother William Lloyd Garrison, when it came to Nat Turner. You remember they had the big debate on the white kids and the white innocent folk?
Mm-hmm. And
They all agreed with y'all. And it's Martin King and a few others agree with me. But that's in the context of a black freedom struggle in terms of the baby.
Well, I think we're starting at the wrong.
It's a discussion that goes, but in the end, resistance takes the form of nonviolence. The nonviolent Palestinian movement, the IDF shot them down like dogs over and over again, just like South Africa up until 1957. We've seen it in other contexts as well. That's why I'm not a pacifist like Martin, Tutu, and others.
Are you though? Because you're hypocritical, Cornel West. You're hypocritical. Cornel West is a hypocrite. And people in the chat are seeing this, right? Cornel West is a huge hypocrite.
But what other forms of resistance? Well, that's why BTS means much, much, much to me, because it's a non-violent form.
BDS will only go so far. Armed resistance will liberate Palestine. Only armed resistance will liberate Palestine. I'm part Palestinian. 15% of my ancestry is Palestinian, okay? I'm ethnically Palestinian on my maternal side, right? 15% of my ancestry, which is from my maternal grandpa, is Palestinian. It pisses me off when Cornel West lectures me about how my people should liberate Palestine. It pisses me off, man. Cornel West, again, is a circus clown. Cornel West is an Islamophobe. He's an Orientalist. He's a liberal Zionist. He's a Protestant extremist. You have to remember, his grandpa was a Baptist preacher, right? His dad was a DOD contractor. Cornel West was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is in the southern United States, and you know they have bad values. The Protestants, especially down south, have bad values in that they're Zionists, they're Islamophobes, they're Orientalists, and they're grifters. Doesn't matter if they're black Protestants or white Protestants. Protestants in the southern U.S. tend to be Orientalist, they tend to be Islamophobic, they tend to be Zionist, and they tend to be grifters, clout chasers, and circus clowns. That's what they are.
And it needs to be more robust and so forth. And I believe in violent resistance when it is what we call just war.
But my goodness, Dr. West, the targeting of children is a false, is a straw, false equivalence, whatever, a fallacy, name. The safest thing for Israeli and historically white children is not to be the children of colonizers and enslavers.
Don't be colonized.
So I mean, you know, so
But they
so,
got to grow up
so,
and make a choice to go
okay,
against
but
their
that,
daddy
but
and mom.
right, but they are innocent victims caught up in the process of a legitimate resistance struggle to occupation and colonization. That's the point.
That's true.
So when that's all I'm saying. So when the
Again, it's kind of funny that Jared's bringing this point up because Jared's maternal grandparents were Zionist squatters from Russia who lived on a kibbutz in Palestine. And again, I've criticized Jared in a video when he ran cover for Zionist Martin Luther King. But yeah.
Any allusion to some sort of balance where there's still
Well, no, we're not
to say.
I
I know you're not.
use the
But
word balance,
it's an allusion to it. When you do, I'm telling you, optically.
Cornel West is a clown. As much as I think Jared Ball's an academic grifter, at least we can both agree that Cornel West is a clown. At least I can agree with Jared Ball that Cornel West is a clown, right? Cornel West, he's a Zionist, he's a clown, he's a grifter, he's an Islamophobe, and he's an Orientalist.
When people, that's why you got some of the pushback on Twitter that won't.
But people just misunderstand. I've been misunderstood a lot of my life.
I know, and that's my point. That was the point I was making a minute ago. So then when you come right back around, as you have often done, and march with Palestinians and stand and hashtag no occupation, you're very clear in that moment. What I'm suggesting is the impact, the positive impact of that is weakened by any allusion to some sort of false equivalence where you feel, or anyone feels compelled to do something, to say something like, well, we don't want Hamas's militant wing. You know, we have to throw all of that kind of stuff in there instead of just the focus being if the IDF and Israel fall back and stop occupying and do all of that, then there is no Hamas militant action. There is no whoever militant action that anybody in the world would then stand with because the occupation is over. So
Well, that's not true, though, brother. That's not true either because. I mean, again, we got a long history in this regard because of the PLO and Hamas, right? The ways in which Palestinians themselves have been tortured and killed by Hamas, who are not part of Hamas. It's a theocratic organization, man.
Look, Cornel West is a Zionist. Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West is an Orientalist. This is what Nyla Burton, Suad Abdul Khabir, and people like that have been talking about. Right? Let's go to this article, right? This is from Nyla Burton. Again, Mondoweiss 95% of the time sucks. But yeah, Nyla Burton did a good article here. And Nyla Burton says, right? Nyla Burton says, right? So Black Islamophobia has long gone uninterrogated as a dangerous form of religious discrimination in the black church. What is Cornel West? Cornel West is a black Islamophobe, folks. That's what Cornel West is. In that one sentence, Nyla Burton describes Cornel West.
Deeply religious and hierarchical and xenophobic and a whole lot of other things too.
And it wouldn't exist if Israel hadn't encouraged it and it wasn't
they're
there.
part of the community, but the problem is, once you follow the same logic you're talking about, then it easily becomes a matter of the internal devouring that can take place with the
Again, Cornel West is a huge Islamophobe. That's what he is, right? Right? Black Islamophobia has long gone uninterrogated as a dangerous form of religious discrimination in the black church. It is dangerous not because black Christians have a tendency, right? So here's the thing. Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West is that problem of black Islamophobia. That's what Cornel West is, right? Right? And remember, didn't Cornel West vote for Biden in 2020? I'm going to look that up. I don't know for sure. I'm going to look that up. But he definitely ran cover a little bit for Biden in 2020. He said they will, and here's what Nyla Burton says about black Christians. They will silence dissent under the guise of racial progress, and they will gleefully work alongside those doing the killing, coveting positions in the cabinets of murderers of black and brown Muslims. We have seen this with Obama. We are seeing it again with Biden, right? Cornel West is running cover for Zionist squatters. Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West is the exact problem that Nyla Burton talks about. Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West is an Orientalist. He's a grifter. He's a Zionist. He's a circus clown. Give him the makeup. Put the clown nose on his nose, right? That's what he is. Cornel West is a circus clown. Cornel West is a grifter, a Zionist, an Islamophobe, and an Orientalist.
Than the Palestinian community itself.
But Dr. West, without the settler colonial project of Israel and the United States
and Britain,
but that's right, because Palestine was not Britain's to give to anybody.
Absolutely.
The original colonizers, without colonization, we wouldn't be having these conversations about internal. And as an anti-imperialist, believing in the self-determination of other people, who Palestinians choose to represent them, that's not my business.
Thank you, Jackie. I think Hamas is a good organization. But I don't think they go far enough. I think Palestinian Islamic Jihad is a better organization. And again, I'm part Palestinian. 15% of my ancestry is Palestinian, right? So, again, I'm a huge supporter of Palestinian Islamic Jihad, right? I think Hamas is a good organization too. And I think they're liberating Palestine. Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West is an Orientalist. Cornel West is a Zionist. Cornel West is a grifter and a circus clown. Cornel West's dad was a DOD contractor. Cornel West's grandpa was a Baptist minister from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Cornel West was born in the South in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I don't trust people from the southern U.S. because they're Islamophobic, they're Orientalist, and they're Zionist, right? So there you go.
Until
I should say most people, like 95% of people down there.
Until and unless they request our assistance, if Palestinians are supportive of Hamas, then that's because the problem is not Hamas. The problem is Israel that is the foundational problem. It is imperialism. It is settler colonialism.
That's true.
And there are no innocent settlers. Settlers are not civilians. They can't be, because because settler colonialism is a violent, militaristic, genocidal project by
Also, the main opposition party of Hamas, Fatah, literally coordinates security with the Zionist entity. Mahmoud Abbas is a Zionist collaborator. Mahmoud Abbas literally coordinates security with the Zionist entity. Hamas is more left-wing than Fatah. Hamas is not as left-wing as Palestinian Islamic Jihad, but Hamas is more left-wing than Fatah, right? And that's why I can work with Hamas, although I support Palestinian Islamic Jihad, right? Fatah are literal Zionist collaborators, and Kehinde Alonge in the chat was making that good point, right?
definition. There's no such thing as polite settler colonialism. And I say this as a Christian who has grown up with the narrative that you have to stand by Israel until I actually read the book.
Well, no, but as a Christian, is that each and
Oh, look at that. She debunked, Jackie Lukman debunked Cornel West. She made him tap. This is like making Cornel West tap in the first round. Our winner by submission after one round, Jackie Lukman, right? She made him tap, dude. She made him ideologically tap, right?
every person made in the image and likeness of God has a certain dignity and sanctity, no matter
Oh,
who they
absolutely,
are, no matter what
absolutely.
social system they find themselves in.
But then also, each person is responsible and accountable for their actions to that God. So the person who commits the offense, if you go and what does it say in the Old Testament in the Torah, where if you steal your neighbor's cow, you deliver back to your neighbor's, what is it, 7 times, 2 or 7 times what you stole? If you took the life of your neighbor unjustly, you have to deliver back to your neighbor some, multiplicity of recompense. So what have the colonizers done in the eyes of God, in the eyes of international law, and in regard to a recompense for stealing a whole country and stealing the lives of Palestinians?
That's real. But let me ask this question, just hypothetically in this regard, just to try to sharpen this issue of morality, that we were born in a European settler colonial system, a project shot through with terror against us, indigenous peoples, and so forth. In some ways, we've been beneficiaries of that imperial privilege, whether we wanted to or not. Now, does that mean that somebody who's against the settler project as Americans has a right to come at even the folk who have tried to be freedom fighters in it, because they're not innocent? They benefited from the imperial fruits.
Cornel West is a clown, man. Cornel West is trying to run cover for Zionist squatters, run cover for settler colonialism worldwide. Cornel West is a clown, dude. He's a clown. He's an Islamophobe. He's a clown. He's an Orientalist. He's a grifter and a clout chaser. Give him the clown nose. Put the makeup on his face. He's a circus clown, right?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
What do you all make of that?
No, I'm sorry. Say that again.
What I was saying, I'm saying that we ourselves were born in a European settler colonial project that became the mightiest empire in the history of the world, ripping folk off every corner of the globe. And we decided to stay Baltimore, ATL, New York, Harlem, or whatever it is.
Was it
we on the underside of that empire, but those who are against that empire would say everybody in it is a beneficiary of it and therefore subject to attack.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you all believe that?
Well, didn't Walter Rodney say that?
Just quickly.
If they kill you all, they wrong. They
Well,
wrong.
hold on, Dr. West.
I actually don't agree with that.
No, didn't Walter Rodney say about active
disagreements on this thing?
Hold on, didn't Walter, 2 things real quick, and I'm gonna shut up.
No.
Didn't what? But didn't Walter Rodney say about academics that they are the enemy of the people?
Ooh, that's a Yes, academics are the enemies of the people until they prove themselves otherwise, at least in Western society. In the United States, the academics, Jared Ball, Cornel West, are the enemies of the people, the ordinary people, the ones who work produce, the ones who work, hardware, the ones who drive cabs, the ones who drive municipal buses, right? The ones who are, the ones who are nurses, right? Academics are the enemies of the ordinary people until they prove themselves otherwise, until they prove that they are not the enemies.
So if we in the imperial core are
And that's a quote from Walter Rodney, who was a revolutionary from Guyana, I want to say. Don't quote me on it, I might be wrong, but I believe Guyana. Put in the chat maybe if I'm correct or not.
going along with our day, not caring about the oppression that we anti-imperialists, anti-colonialists are bringing to the fore, and people have made the decision. I don't care about that. I'm just trying to get the bag. I don't know what you want me to say for you, but this is why I am an anti-imperialist. Because I know that because I am inside the imperial core, that's my responsibility.
I agree.
I have to prove myself an enemy of the system that creates the misery around the world. I must do that. That is
Cornel West, like if you, without any sort of accent, if you just saw the words and like the context, you probably wouldn't even think he's black, right? You probably wouldn't even know. You probably, this is like a German dude or an Irish dude or whatever. Like, he's been just involved in like bougie elitist academia for so long, right? And this is like the again, what Nyla Burton calls like black Zionism, like what Suad Abdel Khabir calls black Orientalism. Ali Mazrui also called it black Orientalism, right? Let's see. So this is like in this article in Mondoweiss, Nyla Burton talks about black Islamophobia, right? She says, I think black Islamophobia in many ways is a form of self-hate. When we were stolen from Africa, many of us were Muslim. We had names like Musa and Warsan, changed into Peggy and Franklin. The cultural genocide we endured nearly succeeded in wiping out Islam in the U.S. or occupied Turtle Island, right? Or Tikatnu, or yada yada, right? There's several different names that people call. There are no turtles up north, right? Until the Nation of Islam helped, which us Muslims don't consider as Muslims, helped revive it during the Civil Rights Movement, with most of their adherents later moving on to traditional forms of Sunni Islam, either the Hanafi madhab or Maliki madhab, even the Shafi madhab, right? Black Islamophobia in the Christian community is to Nyla Burton, which is who wrote this article. And I actually agree with this as well. So to Arturo as well, a desperate attempt to be validated by participating in its violence, distancing yourself from the Muslim roots of your ancestors, coolly chanting 4 more years. Right? So, and this was in context to Genocide Joe being booed in Charleston, to attacking a predominantly Muslim country, right? It is like whiteness is a club they want admission into, and if Muslim lives or even Arab Christian lives are the price, then so be it, right? Again, Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West has always sought proximity to whiteness. Going to Harvard, right? Being Protestant, right? Being anti-Ba'athist, being anti-Marxist. That's who Cornel West really is. You have to remember, his dad was a DOD contractor, his grandpa was a Baptist preacher, right? That's who Cornel West is.
Absolutely. But folk on the outside may not distinguish between us and some other black folk who've accommodated themselves because we inside of the regime. They don't have time to...
That's our problem.
That's our mistake, isn't it?
That's an organizing issue, which we talk about all the time. This is why organization is important.
So that means you all would be willing to be shot down dead.
It's not about being willing, Dr. West.
Who would view us as beneficiaries of the empire? No.
Dr.
not-
West,
it's
we're
not-
getting shot down
I'm
dead by the
I'm
pigs
gonna
in the
defend all
empire
three
every
of y'all
day.
against that.
We
Yeah,
get
yeah.
shot down by
No one is
pigs
calling
in
for
the
us to get
empire.
shot down. The point is if there is outside folks who see the empire as the enemy,
Right.
and if we haven't done our job in battling that empire,
But
and
they're
they
not gonna
just see
they're not
us
gonna be able to distinguish
as
it.
part-
They can't distinguish between us and
then
anybody
that's our
else.
fault. They should already be. In fact, if someone is planning an invasion, they need to get in touch with me fast so I can tell them where to go.
I'll let you.
You know, I mean, that's our fault. You know, so-
And that's why creating anti-imperialist and revolutionary organizations is of utmost importance, right?
No, that's it. I mean, to me,
But I
honestly,
can tell you this,
it's
Hamas ain't gonna get it. Hamas ain't gonna necessarily get in contact with you. The
Well,
PLO
but
might,
see,
but
but
Hamas ain't gonna get in
see,
contact
this
with you.
is
Again, that's more Islamophobia and more Orientalism, right? Cornel West wants to be white so bad. That's why he's doing Islamophobia. That's why he's being Orientalist. That's why he's being Islamophobic. That's why he's a liberal Zionist.
Because one, they gonna find out you don't read the Quran. You ain't giving your 5 prayers a day. You're allowing the women to be too free, and you might be
Dr.
embracing
West,
the gay
that's
brothers
kind of
like James
Islamophobic.
Baldwin.
That's Islamophobic right
No, but
there.
Cornel West is Islamophobic, and Jackie Lukman calls him out for it. She totally nails that point on the head, right? He's Islamophobic. Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West aspires proximity to whiteness. That's why he's an Islamophobe, right? That's why he's Orientalist. That's why he's a liberal Zionist. That's why he's a Protestant extremist. That's what Cornel West is at the end of the day.
No, just to jump in really quickly, I don't necessarily, I don't take the same position of you can't critique. I agree.
You don't think Iran?
Kamau Franklin's an Islamophobe too, by the way. And guess what? He went on Brianna Joy Gray's show. He went on Bad Faith podcast with Brianna Joy Gray, who's one of like the biggest Zionist grifters, biggest Orientalist and Islamophobic grifters on YouTube, right? She had Zionist Mitchell Plitnick, who has ties to George Soros and to the Zionist lobby on. She's had Josh Rubin, Ari Rabin Havit, like Zionist operatives who founded J Street, who used to work for Obama. Kamau Franklin has been on the Bad Faith podcast with Brianna Joy Gray. Again, he's a grifter as well.
Like that either? You don't think Iran is like that?
Again, Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West, he's a Zionist grifter, right? Cornel West is a Zionist. Cornel West is an Orientalist. He's a circus clown. That's what he is. He's an opportunist, right?
You can definitely critique other, in my opinion, you should definitely critique other liberation struggles because there are going to be differences between what you do and what they do. So I have.
Come on, Kamau, quit giving him cover, dude. Quit giving this Islamophobe Cornel West cover. Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West is an Orientalist. Cornel West is a Zionist, right? Look at Nyla Burton. Nyla Burton, she spelled it out quite well, right? Right? This is why Black Islamophobia may be philosophically a rejection of the self. It is functionally an attack on an out-group and should be seen as such because it results in the community's complicity in death. Again, by being a Black Islamophobe, Cornel West is complicit in the Black community's role in U.S. imperialism. People join the military and murder Black and brown Muslims, or they support the leaders who do and harass anyone who suggests not voting for them. This too is Zionism, perhaps a passive brand, but Zionism all the same and still deadly and unholy. Forgiveness for these sins should not come so easily and should not be granted with a feeble "I didn't know" or "I was full of self-hate" or "I don't know." Those who chanted 4 more years at Mother Emanuel will find redemption, but that's not my concern. That's Allah's concern, right? So, again, this is Cornel West, right? Black Islamophobia is in many ways a form of self-hate, right? That's, again, Black Islamophobia in the Christian community is a desperate attempt to be validated by whiteness by participating in its violence, distancing yourself from your Muslim roots of your ancestors, right? That's Cornel West in a nutshell, right? In a nutshell, that is the whole ideology of Cornel West. The Protestant grifter, right? The Islamophobe, the Orientalist, the liberal Zionist, the gatekeeper, the circus clown, the opportunist. That's what Cornel West is.
I have no problem critiquing other
Absolutely.
liberation struggles. However,
While remaining a part of
the
it.
difference
While
between
remaining a part of
critiquing
it.
and understanding the difference between those who fight oppression, those who are part of a worldwide imperialist project. Without Iran, there would be no resistance in Palestine.
Again, now they're going to make some Khomeinist talking points, which I disagree with, because guess what? The Zionist entity, this is what Kamal gets wrong about Iran. So the Zionist entity in 1987 was giving weapons to Iran in exchange for petroleum, pistachios, almonds, and cashews, right? Iran funnels petroleum, almonds, cashews, and pistachios to Zionist corporations in occupied Palestine, in occupied 1948 Palestine, right? So, again, on the point about Iran, Kamal's wrong. He's been wrong since like 1987, right? But Cornel West is a clown. Cornel West is an Islamophobe. Cornel West is an Orientalist. Cornel West is a circus clown. Cornel West is a Zionist. Cornel West is a grifter and an opportunist. You might as well put clown makeup and a red nose on Cornel West, right? Cornel West has been in academia for quite a while, several decades, right? Cornel West's dad was a DoD contractor. Cornel West's grandpa was a Baptist minister. Cornel West was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. His parents and grandparents were born in Tulsa. The South is reactionary. The South is Orientalist, Islamophobic, and Zionist. Cornel West has always been anti-Ba'athist. Cornel West praised the murder of Saddam Hussein in the 2000s. Cornel West represents the ruling class. Cornel West is a grifter. Cornel West collaborated with Zionist Rabbi Michael Lerner. That's who Cornel West is. That's who Cornel West is. He's been one of the biggest grifters for quite a while. And even a liberal Zionist apologist like Jared Ball, or a grifter like Kamal Franklin, who went on bad faith with Brianna Joy Gray, who's an Orientalist, an Islamophobe, and a liberal Zionist and a grifter herself, he can see that, right? Even Kamal Franklin and Jared Ball, and even Jackie Lukman, who used to work for, I believe, General Dynamics, can see that, you know? Like, even people who are compromised can see that, right? Cornel West is a grifter, right? Cornel West is what I would call a black Zionist. He is a black Islamophobe. He is a black Orientalist. He is a circus clown. He is a grifter. That's what Cornel West is. When Nyla Burton described black Islamophobia as a form of self-hate, as a form of attempting to be closer to whiteness, that's what Nyla Burton was talking about. That's what Nyla Burton was talking about, right? Let's check out the comments before we go here. So I said, Kamal made Cornel tap out. Jackie made Cornel tap out like Khabib made Conor McGregor tap out. Of course, I would make that analogy. She made him tap out, right? Like right? Won by submission, right? Ideological submission, right? And then Michael T says, let's see what else. Mac Automation Tip says that was a serious debate and it's hard to do it publicly. Again, Cornel West individualism actually has trumped his collectivism, no pun intended. Right? again, yeah, Cornel West is a clown. He's a clown just as much as Diallo Kenyatta is a clown, right? And even as compromised as Lukman, Jackie Lukman, Jared Ball, Kamau Franklin are, even they call him out, right? Cornel West is a grifter. That's what he is. Black Zionism and black Islamophobia and black Orientalism perfectly describe the ideology of Cornel West. But you can also apply those to, people like Jared Ball. I don't know as much about Kamau Franklin, so I want to listen to a little bit more of what he has to say. But if we determine that can apply to him, it will apply to him, right? But yeah, Cornel West is a Zionist, an Orientalist, an imperialist, an Islamophobe, and a circus clown, and a grifter, and an opportunist. That's what he is. He's the type of person that Nyla Burton was describing in her article, Mother Emanuel and the Danger of Black Zionism, right? Again, that's who Cornel West is, and that's who will always be. Again, remember, his dad was a DOD contractor, right? His dad was a DOD contractor. His grandpa was a Baptist minister. Cornel West has been a sellout his entire life. So there you go.